My name is Paul Doroshenko. I'm one of the BC driving lawyers. I want to talk to you today about driving while prohibited. So driving while prohibited is one of the most serious offenses under the Motor Vehicle Act. It is one of the few offenses that requires that you must attend court at some point or another to answer for the charge. There's lots of reasons you can be prohibited. You can be prohibited because you've got a bad driving record and the superintendent has decided to prohibit you. You might be prohibited because of an immediate roadside prohibition or an administrative driving prohibition. You can be prohibited by the court. You've gone to court and a judge can order that you're prohibited. You can be prohibited as a result of a police officer issuing you a very short-term driving prohibition, such as a 24-hour driving prohibition for drugs or for alcohol. Any one of those types of driving prohibitions, if you drive, you are driving while prohibited. If you don't have a valid driver's license and you've been prohibited, you are driving while prohibited. And there's some strange ones too. You know, if you're caught in BC and for whatever reason the superintendent of motor vehicles decides that they want to give you an indefinite license suspension and you drive, you're driving while prohibited and you face the potential consequences of that. The consequences of a driving while prohibited charge are severe. Some would call them extreme. You have to go to court if you're convicted. It is a minimum 1-year driving prohibition. That's on a first offense and a fine. On top of that, you run the risk of a potential jail sentence. Depending on your driving record, there's have been judges who have sentenced people to jail on their first offense. Up until 2005, it was automatic 1 week in jail on your first offense. Now, if you're convicted a second time, in other words, you've been charged and convicted 2 times of drive while prohibited, on the second offense, it's 2 weeks in jail. That's the mandatory minimum that's set in the Motor Vehicle Act. So it's a very, very serious offense. On top of the consequences for driving while prohibited when you have to go to court and face a judge, you also run the risk of course, if you have an accident, you have no insurance. If you're driving while prohibited, ICBC will take the position, and it's written in law, that if you don't have a valid driver's license because you're prohibited from driving, you have no insurance. So you have no insurance at that point. You are on the hook for all of the damage that you cause in an accident. This is one of the many reasons you shouldn't drive while prohibited. Now, we defend driving while prohibited charges, and we've been doing it for a long time. And the nice thing is that there are some decent defenses to it, but they are really just technical defenses. So it's something you're going to want to talk to a lawyer about to defend that charge. You don't want to go into court on your own for a drive while prohibited charge. Our phone number is 604-608-1200. You can give us a call if you're charged with driving while prohibited. BC Driving Lawyers.